The Empowerment Parent Resource Center would like to welcome you to a presentation about IEPs. It's called Steps for Success, Making IEP Meetings Work. And this is developed by Leslie Junkin, who works for MSPTI, the Mississippi Parent Training and Information Center Project. We hope you enjoy. Remember, the purpose of an IEP meeting is to make sure that your child has what he or she needs in order to be as successful as possible. This meeting can be very contentious at times, it can be very emotional at times, but please remember to stay child focused. Remember why you're there, and perhaps we might have to sometimes put our personal feelings aside to do what's best for our child. Now, hopefully that we'll have a good, at least a decent relationship with everybody on the team, but as chances are, we're going to have some conflicts sometime in the relationship with one of the team members, but we just have to put that aside to do what's best for our child. Look up this policy, 34 CFR 300.503, related to prior notice, and be familiar with it. Many times prior notices perhaps are not sent out or are not sent out in a reasonable amount of time. This policy will familiarize yourself with what should be done and what shouldn't be done. Remember that any request or communication that you have with a team member needs to be in writing of some form. It can be an email, a letter, it can be text, whatever it is. Make sure you have a paper trail for that communication. Unfortunately, in Florida, we are not able to record IEPs, regardless if you have permission from the team members, team leader, whoever it is. We still, by law, cannot record the IEP meetings other than on paper. The purpose of an IEP meeting is not to question the professionalism of the team members, teachers, administrators, whoever is there. The purpose is to make sure that your child has what they need to be as successful as they possibly can. The people that are involved in the IEP will be experts in their field, but nobody is an expert on your child more than you. You are the expert on your child. You've spent more time with them. You are more intimately involved with them. There's nobody that's going to know them better than you. So remember that and use that in a tactful way. In the parental concerns portion of the IEP, many families misunderstand what this is for. The fact is, this section should include a brief description that includes facts like age, grade, hopes for the future, etc. Things that are maybe even sound clinical and personal. This section is not a complaint section. It's not to share your problems with the system, with how things have progressed to this point. It's a place for somebody to look at that perhaps has never met your child or met you. They should be able to read this section and understand what it is what hopes you have for your child related to their education. During the IEP meeting, this is a time for you to request changes, request things to increase, decrease, whatever it is that you request. Be prepared to answer the question, why are you requesting this? For example, I'm requesting occupational therapy because it helps the fine motor skills of my child. That will in turn help with zipping up his or her pants and buttons on the shirt, that type of thing. So request and then give examples of why you're requesting these services. This section can be very contentious, but don't be afraid of it. Whenever you receive an assessment, don't be afraid to question the assessment. If you have to itemize every part of it, that's your prerogative. Remember, this is your child, and you are advocating for your child. If you need to, you can request an independent educational evaluation, IEE. If you need to do that, be prepared for some less than favorable responses to this. However, that's just something that sometimes needs to happen. Remember always to get a copy of any assessment prior to the IEP meeting, and be ready to ask for explanations and changes as needed. Please make sure that adequate time is being allotted for the IEP meeting. If an hour and a half is not enough time, then perhaps there needs to be a second meeting. Your first meeting is probably going to stay at the time that the organizers want it to stay at, but if you get to that hour and a half time period or hour time period and you haven't covered everything, then politely and calmly request an extension, a meeting number 2 perhaps, and make sure to make note of the responses that you get, and you can even document that as well. Asking questions in a meeting such as an IEP can be tricky. However, please do not view this as an obligatory time that teachers and administrators have to put in the meeting. This is the time that you can go over the questions that you have written down throughout the meeting and make sure that you get an adequate answer. And if you don't get an adequate answer, make a note of that, put a little star by that note, and go back to it at a later time. Not everybody is going to get along with everybody else in and out of these meetings. These IEP meetings can be very emotional. There's going to be a history perhaps with some people, and sometimes that history may not be very positive. However, please remember that these meetings they need to remain child focused. There could be a person in this meeting, on this team, that you just simply don't like, but you have to look past that and see what they are doing to help your child become the best they can possibly be. If they're not doing their job, that's one thing. If you don't like them and they continue but they are doing their job and they're doing it very well, that's another thing. That's something that you're just going to have to learn to look past and look at the positive that they're doing for your child. Knowing everything you can know about the procedural safeguards is very important. It kind of gives you a license to question things that team members may not be used to being questioned about. If you are certain about the procedural safeguards, then you can politely correct things. You can guide some conversations, ask questions about certain conversations or certain things in conversations that will eventually lead to you finding out what you want to find out. And if you're involved in a conversation that you know an answer that you have been given is not true, there's a way that you can steer the conversation in order to bring that correct answer to the forefront. I'd like for you to take a look at these references that Leslie Junkin used to put this presentation together. I've also added some that are more Florida specific that I think you'd be interested in. Please If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at 850-444-8554, or you can go to our website. You can see on the screen is eprcnwfl.com, and we'll be more than happy to email you back, call you back, and answer any questions you might have. If you're in Mississippi or the Mississippi area, feel free to give Leslie or the staff a call at 800-721-7255, or you can go to their website at mspti.org. That's mspti.org. Give them a call. They'll be glad to help you. I've added some closing thoughts for your consideration. Please feel free to take a look at it and let me know what you think. Feel free to give us a call, 850-444-8554. Please go to our website if you'd like to, eprcnwfl.com. It has been a pleasure spending some time with you today. My name is Destry Lebrun, Training Coordinator with the Empowerment Parent Resource Center in Pensacola, Florida. We have a 7-question survey we would like for you to fill out. It would take no longer than 3 minutes to do so. This allows us to see what was good, what we could work on, so we can serve you better. Thank you.